Hey, Junior, do you know what's your financial health?
Financial health. Now, what's that? How do I find out?
Financial health is just like your physical health. You can find out if you are financially healthy or not.
Oh, really? How do I find out? Can you please tell me quickly? Please, please. How do I find out my financial health?
Check your mailbox. I've just sent you a link. Answer all the questions and let me know, and I will tell you what's your financial health. And it'll take you 5 minutes.
Oh, is that? Let me find out.
So done?
Done.
Sure, let me check. You are financially sick, Junior.
What? What do you mean?
I'm financially sick. I have a house, I have a car, I'm working for a great organization. What are you telling? I'm financially sick. How did you know that? Stay there, get your wife, and watch this video. This video will be all about knowing your financial health. Get a pen, a notebook, and take notes. I'm going to share 8 things help you find out if you are financially healthy or not. Okay?
Sure, senior. Whatever you say. Yes, I'll get my wife. I'll get a pen and a notebook and make notes. Please, please help me to know how can I be financially healthy?
And what about you? You also get your wife or your husband, sit with a pen and a notebook, and I will show you how to find out your financial health. Would you like to know if you are right now financially healthy, or will you be financially healthy? Now, that was Frankie, the junior. He was financially unhealthy. Yes, I was financially unhealthy many years ago. But today I can say I am financially healthy. And how did I become? What are the things that I did? Yes, I am Frankie Fernandez. I am a financial coach, a certified financial planner, and I'm also a marriage coach. My goal is to help young families like you to grow your wealth and also your relationship, because both are equally important. And this video will be a very important video for you. Don't miss. I have laid down 8 things that will help you understand if you are financially healthy or not. And in the end, there is a test. This could be a little lengthy video, but I've covered all these aspects, compared them with our physical body, the tests that we do for our physical body, and they are in chapters. So check in the description box for the chapters and choose the chapters that you want to watch first, but watch the full video. It will be worth your time. You will know by the end of this video if you are financially healthy or not. You may have house, a car, a great place. You may be working, you may be having a good designation and working for a great company. None of these will determine if you are financially healthy. Financial health is something else. And I want you to watch this video so that you will be financially healthy and grow your wealth and also your relationship. So let's get into this video. Hey, Junior, don't forget to watch the video.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yes, yes. I will be watching the video with my wife. So, when I think about financial health, what first comes to my mind? Based on my own experience of so many years of working and talking to so many families and their finances and reading up a lot, I feel the number one things that comes to my mind is spending habits. If you would compare this with health, Most of our health issues have got to do with the eating habits. Now, eating is not bad. Similarly, spending is not bad. We must spend. There is good spending. Spending on food and groceries and spending for travel, spending for several things, just like eating. So, spending is not bad. But if you have bad spending habits, that can cause severe financial health issues. So, think about it just like your physical health. So, spending is the core. It is said that it is not your salary that makes you rich, it is your spending habits. Most people, if you look around, especially the self made millionaires, if they are millionaire today, it is because of their healthy spending habits. So, what could be the issues in spending? I would like to keep this simple, just 3 or 4 points. When I talk about poor spending habits, which can have long term consequences, what are those which can affect your financial health? Number one, living beyond means. What does this mean? That means if your salary is 50,000, you invariably spend more than 50,000 every month. Yes, you may use your credit card. You may think, I will use my future income to pay that. All those are symptoms of poor spending habits. Once in a while is fine, but on a regular basis, living beyond your means, you are going to destroy your financial health. And in that process, you and your family. Living beyond means is when you want to have a high standard of living without having those resources. You don't have a great salary, but then you look at your friends and your peers, your relatives, and that peer pressure makes you buy things, keep buying things, keep buying things. Living beyond your means. When your salary is 50,000, you're spending constantly more than 50,000 month on month, month on month. It's a problem. That is a bad spending habit which can affect your financial health. Number two, impulsive purchases. Now they're all interlinked, but I'm just giving this point separately to make you understand or to make you think, to make you introspect if you are one of them. Are you doing impulsive purchases? Impulsive means, are you spending, uh, you know, the moment you feel like? Jab chahe, jab chaha. That means, you go to a store, and if you see some good mobile, or if you see something that is appealing to your eyes, you just buy it. Especially those big products. For example, you go and see a big TV, and you somehow feel, oh, what I have is not good enough. Let me buy. And you have not budgeted, you have not planned, nothing. You just go and purchase it. That is impulsive purchases because you don't even know if you have those resources. Usually, TVs and all these gadgets are very expensive. When you're buying it, you don't even know if you can pay it. You're buying it because probably you have a credit card, or probably you liked this TV so much. It appealed to your desires. So, impulsive purchase can destroy your wealth, can destroy you financially. Again, closely linked to this is the indiscriminate use of credit card. Now, most people get into debt, most people get into trouble is because of the credit card. I've talked to number of people, number of families, and one big problem is the credit card. Now, if you look at these 3 points, living beyond means impulsive purchases are closely linked to a credit card. Maybe you are not doing impulsive purchases, but you're still using your credit card as and when you like to purchase things. Maybe you're using your credit card and which is pushing you to live beyond your means. So they are all interconnected. But I want you to think, are you using your credit card indiscriminately? This is a sign of poor financial health or signs that will lead to poor financial health. Probably today you're okay. Maybe this is your first job. Maybe this is your first year. But remember, this habit will destroy your finances. Now, this is also important. A lot of times people eat indiscriminately or, you know, don't think about what they're eating because they are not bothered whether it is high fat, high carbohydrates, high sugar, whether that will suit your body or nothing. You don't think, you don't count the calories, nothing. You just keep eating. I'm not saying that everything you eat, you have to count your calories. And I'm not saying that every time you purchase, every small thing you have to budget or you have to track. But at least 80 to 90% of your spending should be budgeted. You should know how much you are going to spend per month on groceries. See, school fees, your EMIs, they're all fixed. Your gas or your mobile bill, you have no choice. Those are fixed. But what about the variable expenses, right? Your groceries, your travel, eating food outside, Swiggy, Zomato, or uh, or you suddenly start you plan a vacation, or you suddenly plan to join a gym or anything where the expenses are variable, right? So you must budget. So those who do not budget, those who do not track, although it may seem harmless, but in the long run, you're losing out. Your financial health will deteriorate. And finally, you'll be unhealthy financially. So let's take a look at some of the articles or stats about spending in our country. So here's an article from livemint.com. It says India spends less on food, more on clothes and entertainment. It further shows that the Indian household spending has more than doubled in the last 10 years, with a great portion of expenditure going on discretionary items, which means not the necessary, but where you can decide and, some of those lifestyle expenses. The report showed that households are spending less on food items. These are necessary, while expenditure on discretionary items such as clothes, television sets, and entertainment has increased. Another article from firstpost.com shows that how are Indians spending their money and why it matters. Here it shows again, Indians are changing how they spend their money. A new survey shows Indians are decreasing their expenditure on staples such as rice and wheat, while increasing spends on processed food and durables such as televisions and fridges, something very similar. If you read some of those articles, not much stats, but if you read those articles, the spending has gone up. The spending has gone up, plus the shift has taken from food, rice and wheat, the staples. It has moved into non food items like television and other lifestyle expenses that people usually spend. So there is a shift definitely, and the consumer spending has gone up. So what are the long term consequences of poor spending habits? So just like poor eating habits will lead to long term consequences, same way poor spending habits will lead to long term consequences. You may not feel it today, someday you will feel it, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years later. I have spoken to families in their 40s and 50s who are now regretting for their spending habits, for their lifestyle. Friends, remember, there are long term consequences. What is the number one consequences? No long term wealth created. So when you retire, you will have nothing, practically nothing. And it breaks my heart to know and to talk to families who have nothing created in their last 30, 35 years of their jobs or their career. There are people like that, especially the low income. Of course, even those with high income mess up. So there'll be no long term wealth created. There'll be some unmet financial goals. What are financial goals? Your retirement, children education, maybe buying a house, buying a car, their weddings, marriages. I have done videos on these on financial goals. Please watch them. Financial goals, common financial goals. So if your spending habits are poor, you will not you'll not have long-term wealth. You'll also miss out on some of the financial goals. Definitely you will have problems at retirement. You will have problems to send your children for good, give your children some good, um, fund your children's fees for some good colleges. You will not be able to do it because of your poor spending habits. You may not be able to buy the house that you want or a car that you want because of your poor spending habits. And what will also that lead into? When you're living beyond your means, what are you doing? You are borrowing money. When you're swiping the credit card, what are you doing? You're actually, and when you do not pay, you're actually accumulating credit card debt, and which is the worst form of debt. It's like the cholesterol. In fact, my next section is about loan. I'm going to talk about, I want to specially deal with loan. So I don't want to cover here, but you can get into debt and your life will be stress filled. These are the long term consequences, not only financially, but even affect your physical health. So, long term consequences of poor spending habits. Friends, if there's one big thing that you can help yourself and you can create strong financial health, it is check your spending habits. Check your spending habits. Look at your budget, write your budget, track your expenses, and see where you're spending more, where you should not spend. Cut down those expenses because poor spending habits will lead to a lot of stress, will lead to very poor financial health. If you have issues with spending, then you have to take care. This is number one indicator of poor financial health. So, what's your score? One is poor, five is good. One means you are spending indiscriminately, impulsively, using a lot of your credit card. You do not budget. You're also probably living beyond your means. Five means you have a very disciplined way of spending. You budget, you track, and also you do not impulsively spend. And even on your credit card, you're responsible. So, what's your score? So, the point number two, second thing that can make you financially unhealthy or that proves that you are financially unhealthy. And what is that second one? Loans or debt. Now, loans and debt, as I mentioned earlier, that this is the culmination of poor spending habits. Those who are poor in their spending habits live beyond their means, use credit card indiscriminately, do impulsive purchases, eventually will end up with a lot of loans, a lot of debt. And this is like the disease. It's like if you eat a lot indiscriminately and you have very poor eating habits, what will happen? It'll bring increase to your blood sugar, cholesterol, BP, and all that will eventually land you into trouble. And I always like using this analogy. What is taking a loan? What is like taking a debt? If you are a person who has a lot of loans on your head or loans on your back, before we move on to what it really means or translates into in terms of health, these are the different kinds of loans that everybody takes. Home loans, a very common loan. Car loans, again a common loan. Gold loan, that is, you take loan against your gold. Now, all these three are against a security. Although, of course, among all these loans, the home loan is probably the only home loan which is good. Good because it is against an asset which is appreciating. Of course, I always say do not take a huge house and a huge loan, right? A reasonable, modest loan is good enough. But the car loan is not a good. It is not an appreciating asset. Gold again an appreciating asset, but car is not an appreciating asset. So when you take a loan against a car, it's not a good loan. And now home, car, or gold loan are against a security. You're giving something and they're giving you money against that. And once you pay the money back, they'll give you back your things, right? Or that means it becomes yours. For example, a house, if you repay your loan or if you've completed your loan repayment, the house becomes yours. Until then, the house belongs partly to the bank. Same with your car. And with the gold too. The gold is kept as a mortgage. But what about personal loan? Personal loan has no security. And therefore, the interest rates will be very high compared to gold or car or home loan. Home loan is the cheapest. And personal loans and loan against credit card can run into 30 to 40% per annum interest. And then chit fund loans. None of these loans have a security. And they are terrible loans. You must get rid of these. If you have loans in your portfolio, if you have lots of loans and they are much more than your assets or investments, it is a terrible thing to be in. It is like having a lot of bad cholesterol against little good cholesterol. That means your most parts of your body are getting affected because of this. And how do we translate this into in terms of health? And I always like using this analogy. When you take loans, it's like going to a hospital. And if your loan keeps accumulating, you end up in an ICU. Now, why do I use this example? What happens when you go to the hospital? And some of us may have gone to the hospital during COVID. What happens? What all you can do from the hospital? You can't do a thing. You cannot go for parties. You can't go to church or wherever. You cannot meet friends. You cannot go on a vacation. You cannot exercise. You can't do anything except for probably sit on your or lie on your bed and watch YouTube reels or shorts and watch some YouTube videos like this. That's it. What else? There is restrictions everywhere. You can't work. You can't produce anything. And if your health deteriorates, then what happens? You get into the ICU. And trust me, I know many families who are right now in the ICU. their state is terrible. They have to come out of their ICU, they have to come back to the normal hospital bed, and from there, they have to come back home. Are you in this situation? Do you have a lot of loan? Then you are sick. You are sick financially. You may have a big house, a great car, iPhone, or many gadgets, maybe a great, woodwork done, sofa set, but you are sick, financially sick, because you have so many loans and you can't repay them. Can you repay your loans today? Do you have enough money to repay all your loans? If no, then you are sick. Probably you are right now in the ICU. Friend, you must get out of it. Okay. What are the stats on debt in families in India and abroad? Is it a problem? Is it a problem everywhere? Let's look at some of the articles I was reading. And you can make a guess what we are into as a country, especially young families. So let's look at some of the articles in the news. One from The Wire in April 2024, not too long, 3 months back. It says India's household debt hits a record high of around 40% of GDP. That's quite high. And it says that, and this is an analysis done by Motilal Oswal, and it says that in addition, net financial savings appear to have dropped to their lowest at 5% of the GDP. And in contrast, corporate debt has increased very marginally, while it is being suggested that higher leveraging is due to home loans. It's actually non-housing debt that is increasing at a faster pace. Non-housing debt comprises 72% of the total household debt. I just said that, home loan is among the best, but still that is not the highest. It says that it is increasing, the non-housing debt is increasing by 18.3%, and unsecured personal loans, the unsecured loans, which means there is no security given against it. So the interest rates are very high, and that has been growing. Friends, the sickness is only growing. Personal loans continue to grow, shows RBI data. This is not too far in December 2023 by moneycontrol.com. And another article which says that, which is in May 10, 2024, personal loans on the rise in India. A look at the data and what it means. And here it shows a lot of data. It is evident that personal loans constitute a significant portion, 35% of the total credit extended by commercial banks. And it has nearly doubled since 2021. It says the GDP has increased. The overall bank credit relative to our nominal GDP has increased 412 basis points. In comparison, the rise of the deployment of personal loans over the same period is slightly higher at 437 basis points. Friends, this is not a good sign. And if you are in this statistics, and if your investments or assets are not more than your loans, you are sick right now. Friend, you must come out of it. Your financial health is not good, and it can only get worse if you do not stop this or reverse this. Thankfully, except for home loans, I have never taken loans. I took a car on lease. I had the money, but I took the car on lease just because I would get tax exemption. But it may not have been the best decision because I was still paying interest. Friends, taking loans is not a good thing. I know several families who are right now sick, who have got so much loans. They have all kinds of loans. They have got home loans, they have got auto loans, gold loans, chit fund loans, personal loans, credit card loans. I know some of those who actually who have multiple loans within credit cards.
and they are struggling to come out of it. When I talk to these families, I feel hurt. Friend, if you are there, you must come out of it. Towards the end of this section, I'm going to talk to you also how to become financially healthy, what to do if you are financially sick, how to come out of it. Now, what happens? What are the long term consequences when you are in the hospital, when you are in the hospital bed? The long term consequences, or maybe the short term consequences, are you get into ICU, and beyond that, you no more exist. It's a very pathetic situation. And many of you probably have gone to an ICU. Some have not returned back. But if you are watching this, that means you've come back. Just see how the feeling is. So, what are the long term consequences when you have lots of loans? The long term consequences of living in debt is it slows down your wealth creation. You may be simultaneously saving, investing. But remember that as you're growing in your investments, your loans will keep pulling you down. If your investments are less than your loans, which means you are going backwards, it means you're taking one step ahead, you're taking two, three, four steps behind. So you're growing slowly. You're growing slowly. So your wealth creation will be very slow. Watch my video, three things that will slow down your wealth. And one of them is this. It will slow down your wealth. It's like running with a heavy bag. How fast can you run? Even if you load 50 and 100 kgs of weight on Usain Bolt, even he cannot run. Probably you can defeat him if he's with a heavy load and running. You can defeat him. And that is what it is. You may have a big salary, huge salary, and you may be saving a lot. But if your loans are more than your savings, you are only going back. Even a poor man or woman can increase or grow their wealth faster than you. And this is proved. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in many lives whom I've interviewed that they have more wealth. In fact, my last video, one of my previous videos, wealth creation is boring. You can watch, and there I've given examples of people how the poor, how the low salaried have become rich, and how the high salaried have become poor. You cannot invest to your full potential. Obviously, I knew a person who was earning 50,000 and 30,000 was going into EMIs. And the rest of the money he or she was using for buying things. And a very small portion they could save. And I asked, what if you did not have this 30,000 EMI? What you would have done? The answer is simple. I would have saved all that. See, it actually proves that you can live within your means. You can live with less salary. Because the bigger portion is going into EMIs. And if you have that EMI with you as a disposable income, what would you do? Ideally, if you save, you will grow wealth. But what people do is they go for new loans. No, you have to stop that. If you want to grow, if you want to invest to your full potential, you have to get rid of your loans. And if you have, as long as you have those loans, you cannot invest to your full potential. Number three, you will have a lot of unmet financial goals. Your retirement will be affected. I personally know families who are close to their retirement and they are in debt. Their children are struggling for their education. You can't have any goals. You'll have a lot of unmet financial goals. Friends, this is financial sickness. And finally, you will not create long term assets like a home or investments, equity investments, maybe gold or real estate. You cannot have a huge portfolio of investments. You cannot have wealth because of loans. And how sad, right? From outside, you look very healthy. You have great hair, skin is clear, you look smart with good clothes, a great car, a big house. But actually, inside, you are deteriorating. Your health is deteriorating.
Same thing happens with financial health. From outside, you may have a lot of things: a house, a great house, a big car, great clothes, but you are poor, you are unhealthy, financially sick. Do you want to come out of it? Finally, what's your score? One is poor. That means you have a lot of loans. Five is you have no loans. You're debt free. Where are you? If you are in one, lots of loans, you are sick right now, friend. You are sick. You must get out of it. You must get yourself treated. Or somewhere you are in somewhere in between. Move towards good. Become debt free. Become debt free. Even your home loan, try to repay your home loan as fast as you can, because that interest which you are paying to the banks is making the banks richer and you poorer, because your home is not growing at 9-10%. Your home is growing at 7-8%, and your interest is pulling your appreciation down. So effectively you may not be earning. You can watch my video, 3 properties, 2 mistakes, 1 lesson. I've actually explained clearly about housing, how I lost. So let's move on to the third problem, third symptom of financial illness. So what is next? Next, to know if you are financially healthy. Savings habit. Either you have this habit or you do not. If you have this habit, you are healthy. If you do not have a regular savings habit, you are not healthy. And what does savings habit means? Savings habit means regular savings. Regular, which means every month you set aside some money. You can watch my video, Wealth Creation is Boring, and there I emphasize, I actually get into details of regular savings, saving little by little. So regular savings like SIP in mutual funds or recurring deposits or PPF, all these regular savings are the best way, and SIP in mutual funds is the best way to grow your wealth substantially, exponentially. But regular savings is a must. And earlier you start, the better to take advantage of compounding. That means at a young age, in your 20s, when you get your first job, start savings. And that will go on for the rest of your life. Remember that savings is a discipline. It is less to do with math and more to do with discipline. It's a behavioral part of your life. Now, here, what I'm talking here is positive. But if you do not do savings, you actually are financially sick. You actually will become financially sick or unhealthy over the years. Now, again, this does not, this is nothing to do with your salary, with your designation, or how much money you have, or how big is your house, or how many cars you have. Trust me, this habit overshadows all the rest. This is a discipline. If you don't have this discipline, you will definitely be financially sick, however big your salary is. Now, to compare savings habit with your health, the best example I can give you is self control in eating. Eat what is best for you, healthy for you at your age, and exercise. On one hand, you save, that's a discipline. On one hand, you take control of your eating, and on the other hand, you exercise. Same goes with savings. On one hand, you control spending, and on the other hand, you apply this discipline in your life called savings. Exactly like this. Now, let's take a look at the statistics on savings of Indian households. And you will be really shocked, especially in the last few years. The trends are very shocking. Here is this article from statista.com. It says gross domestic savings rate in India from financial year 2008 to 2021. So, this is the gross domestic savings rate. And if you see here, as a percentage of GDP, it has come down. It has come down. These are very shocking. This is not healthy for households. It may be great temporarily for the economy because the economy is growing, people are consuming, buying a lot of stuff, but savings are at low. Let me show you another article from ET. It says householding savings decline due to rising home, auto, personal loans. So why is the savings going down? Because of home loans, which is okay. Instead of saving in banks or wherever in mutual funds, you are now buying houses, which is okay to an extent. In fact, I'm going to come in my next few sections, I'm going to talk about even this. But the disturbing thing is auto and personal loans. It says household savings are estimated to have declined for the third year in a row in FY24 as liabilities on account of interest towards housing and vehicle loans have continued to rise, but the trend could reverse. Okay. The net household savings declined sharply by rupees 9 lakh crore to 14.6 lakh crore in 3 years to 2022-23 as per the national account statistics. And let me share you one more. Here it says household savings plunge to 5-year low in FY23. Primarily, the Indian households' net financial savings plunged to a low owing to a sharp rise in short-term credit data released by Statistics Ministry showed on Monday. The fall could be attributed to a lot more leveraged consumption and spending due to greater and faster access to credit, economists say. And again, article in May 2024, household savings as at 5-decade low. A look at key numbers. Net financial savings of households declined to a 5-decade low of 5.3% of GDP in FY23 from 7.3 in the previous fiscal, according to the National Accounts Statistics. And here it shows the net financial savings dip. Loans and advances have risen sharply. So if you see, savings have come down, but debt has gone up. Just what I shared in the previous section. People are taking huge loans. That is adding to the financial sickness. And now households have reduced their savings. Yes, part of it could be home loans, but a big part is because of other debt. Your auto loans and personal loans, which we've already seen in the previous section. So financial health is deteriorating in our country. I don't know if you are a part of this. If you are a part of this, you do not have a good financial health at the moment. And you must take action. So, what are the long term consequences of not saving on your financial health? You tend to overspend. Remember, if you're not exercising, if you're not controlling yourself in terms of eating, you'll overeat. You'll never exercise. You'll never show restraint and discipline in your life. And exactly this is what happens. When you don't set aside 10, 20, 25% of your income as savings, what you're doing is You are using that money and you're spending. You tend to overspend, obviously, because you have more disposable income in your hands, in your purse, in your bank. If you had saved it, it would have gone away from your bank. You would have left with less money. You would have left with 70% or 80% of your money to spend. Now, this is very important as families, husband and wife. Savings will save you. But if you do not save, you will fall financially sick as a family. When you do not save, what happens? You don't have emergency funds. You don't have money for financial goals. You don't have money when you need it the most. And what do? You don't have money. You don't have an emergency. You go and withdraw. You go and take loans. You take personal loans. You swipe your card, but you don't pay the credit card company, right? Or you may take chit fund loans or gold loans, whatever, because you have not saved. Finally, you raise the standard of living every time you get a salary hike. 10, 15% salary hike, or maybe even 5%. What do? You say, oh, I'm richer now. So let me spend more. So you raise your standard of living, which is not right. So because you don't save, there are other consequences. And these all will lead to sickness in your financials. Friend, you have to start saving. So, what's your score when it comes to savings? 1 is poor, which means you're not saving at all. 5 is you are saving every month consistently, disciplined, regularly. Or maybe you are somewhere in between. Please keep these scores. We're going to use this course towards the end. So, what we have completed till now, we have talked about spending, talked about taking loans, and now about savings. These are the 3 things we have covered. Please write your scores, where you stand in terms of savings. And now to the fourth. What is the fourth? So, number 4, financial goals. Those who do not have financial goals will actually lead into financial illness. But those who have financial goals will be stronger in their financial health. And what does financial goals include? And what are the consequences of not having financial goals? So, financial goals. What does financial goals include? Retirement. These are some of the most important retirement goals: children's higher studies, children's marriage, home, car, a few foreign vacations, and maybe philanthropy. You want to build a hospital, a school, or whatever. Now, these are the financial goals. Trust me, most part of my life, married life, we did not have financial goals. It was only in the early 40s that I met a financial planner and my eyes were opened. He took me through the financial planning and showed me what are financial goals. He took me through each of these goals. And that was a very eventful day, a shocking day for my life, because I realized how financially sick I was, because I had not planned nothing. My savings were meager. And looking ahead, it looked very bleak. And then I planned this. Yes, anyone can. If you haven't planned, you can plan now. But if you do not plan right now, today, this can lead to financial illness. Now, how do we compare this with health?
Financial goals can be compared with health goals, right? If you have, for example, cholesterol, what is your health goal? To reduce cholesterol, to get rid of cholesterol. What if you have sugar? To bring down sugar. What if you have low HP count? To raise the HP count. What if you are overweight? Your goal is to reduce your weight. And these are all the goals. What if you do not have a goal, a health goal? Your weight, your health will get out of control, right? Even maintaining your weight is a health goal, right? I I often check my weight to see if I have where I am, whether I've increased my weight or reduced. That's also a goal. So you need not have some goal like, oh, I want to reduce 20 kgs or 10 kgs. Yes, there are some who will have to. If they do not, it can lead to health complications. But some of us who are not so overweight, you also need to have a health goal of not exceeding. For example, I am careful about what I eat. That is my health goal. I do not eat a lot of carbs uh, because I am pre-diabetic, or a lot of fried stuff because I have cholesterol. So I have health goals. So even financially, we must have health goals. Without that, it will lead to financial sickness. Now, what are the stats on financial goals in Indian households? I was just going through some articles I'll share with you. For example, this article fi.money, there is a lengthy article, and there it says the importance of financial planning, your financial future. So PGIM's retirement readiness survey revealed some concerning statistics. It says it showed that 51% of Indians were unprepared for their retirement. I hope you are not one of them, with many of them not even having started financial planning for retirement. On the other hand, urban Indians are saving and investing less while using 59% of their income to meet current expenses. If you haven't started your financial planning, please go back, check my video on common financial goals and retirement DIY. Both these will help you. In fact, my recent video on newborn, uh, providing a good emotional and financial future for our children. I've again shared the Excel sheet, download it, and please use it to find out what is your retirement and what is your children's education goals. If you cannot do it, please find a financial advisor and get it done at with high priority. It will lead to financial illness otherwise. Another article in Economic Times. Are Indians good financial planners? Find out. And here it says that, for example, studies suggest Indians have a long way to go when it comes to financial planning. 81% of Indian parents don't even know the cost of higher education in the future. 71% of parents in India are willing to go into debt to fund their children's higher education, getting into further financial illness. 3.44% is the dismal extent of insurance penetration in India, etc., etc. Another article says at the pan-India level, 75% of individuals have begun planning for their retirement. However, regions with greater awareness, such as metros, showed higher levels of preparedness. That means the other places it is not. Also, younger individuals were more prepared than their older counterparts. So this is something good that younger generation is doing their planning. But I don't know about you. If you are not, please begin right now. And finally, an article from FPSB. This is the board where I received my certification on as a financial planner. It says people who have undertaken financial planning have benefited the most in terms of wealth creation, investment, retirement, tax planning, and in general lead a better quality of life than those who remain unadvised. If you want a better quality of life, you have to start your financial planning. What are the long term consequences of no financial goals? Number one, lack of resources in retirement, dependence on others. I think this can be the most difficult of consequences, of all consequences. Retirement is a phase or stage of life when you have no regular source of income. You are not physically and mentally that fit, especially physically, to work after your retirement. You can do some part time, you can do something that you love, but you're not that fit. You cannot get loans. And if you do not have enough, it'll be a very stressful life for you and your wife. However good your marriage is, it'll be a very tragic, very difficult life. And then you will be unnecessarily dependent on your children. Yes, your children may support you, but then do you want to take their support? They will get married and go. Do you want to burden your children? Children's education is compromised. And this is something which I have seen. Even the previous point, I have seen families retiring, and I wonder how will they go on for the next 20-25 years, because you retire at 60, and then for the next 20-25 years you are living. Children's education gets compromised. That is also an issue, because if you have not planned your financial goals, what education will you give your children? These days all the education is very expensive. My video on newborn plan for your children's good future, financial and emotional, I've covered this aspect very well. Please watch that video. Without proper goals, you will compromise children's education. You will end up with huge loans for children's future, be it their marriage or their education. You will end up taking loans. And I've heard number of stories where families have taken loan for education, to send them abroad, for their marriage, and today they have got lakhs and lakhs of loans, and they're not able to repay. And to an extent where even the children are not cooperative. Finally, it'll be a stress-filled life. Every time I talk to a family with huge debt, my heart breaks. And I wonder how will they come out. Yes, there is a way. There you can come out. You can come out. If you are in that position, you can come out. But if you are in this position, no financial goals, only with debt, you are financially ill. You have to reverse that process. What is your score? One is poor, which means you don't have any financial goals. Five is you have all financial goals. Are you somewhere in the middle? You must. If you do not have your financial goals, eventually you will become financially sick. Would you like to? Now let's move on to the next. What's the next?
So, the next on the list to find out if you are financially healthy is emergency funds and insurances. Now, this forms a part of risk planning, forms a part of your overall financial planning. So, we just saw the financial goals, which forms a part of your financial plan. And this also forms a part of your financial plan. It's called the risk plan. If you are not okay with this, you are sick or you will be critically ill. So, what does emergency funds and insurances include, and why they decide or determine our financial health? Let's see. Number one, it's a part of risk planning. Risk planning is important in every area of your life, beginning at home. You plan for your risk. Just imagine when there are small children at home, what do you do? There are a lot of things you are conscious about, especially those sockets. What do? You cover or tape those sockets. You do not think, you do not keep glassware or anything that is delicate, very close at a low height. You'll always try to keep it on top. You will not, you will ensure that there is nothing fallen on the floor. I remember we did all this, but still, our second daughter, when she was a couple of 2 years old, I guess, she bent down, saw underneath the fridge, and she plucked that pest control, that cockroach repellent, and she put it into her mouth. So, so much we did yet, but still, risk planning is so important. When we have small kids at home, or when you drive, what do? You wear the seat belt or you wear the helmet. Risk planning. And even in your organization, if you're working for an investment company, like I was working for Franklin Templeton, we had a department called the risk department. So planning risk is important. So risk planning protects your wealth from a common man's perspective. Risk planning protects the credibility of a company. And risk planning is extremely important because we are living in times of risk, right? We have seen a lot of terrorism, hacking in the computers, on the internet. So to protect, you have um, McAfee, right, which protects your laptop or your computer from threats. So very, very important. Yes, it costs money. It costs money. It costs some effort, but it saves a lot more when when hell breaks loose, when you're attacked. So to begin with, it's the emergency funds. It is said that in the financial planning world, you must have 3 to 6 months of your necessary expenses, which includes your EMI, insurance premiums, all your groceries, school fees, and all the necessary things for the home. Yes, it does not include your shoes and your clothes and Swiggy and all that. That is lifestyle expenses. But what I'm talking about, the living expenses. So all your living expenses, you must see what is it. So if your living expenses comes to 50,000, minimum you need is 1.5 to 2 lakhs. You can have 6 months or a year to. So roughly 3 lakhs is what you need, which will cover 3 months of your expenses if you were to lose your job. For right. So if you're working for a company and if your job is such that you can get another job very quickly, then it doesn't matter. 3 months is fine. But if you're working and if you're working for it's a very niche skill and not so much required in many companies. If you lose your job, you may not find a job for the next 6 8 months. So try to have 1 year's worth of emergency funds. You must have 6 to 10 lakhs in your account kept aside in a fixed deposit or a liquid fund of a mutual fund, liquid fund or a short duration funds. It's very important, friends. If you do not have, it can lead to financial illness because if something were to go wrong, either you lose your job or maybe there is some emergency travel expenses, like when my dad passed away in 2020 January, that is pre-COVID. We had to make a quick decision. Should I travel alone or with my family? And if with the family, we had a huge travel expense. So that's an emergency situation. And we had to make that call. Just imagine if I did not have the money, that cash with me, then what? Then I would have to borrow or swipe the card and not being able to pay the credit card company because I don't have that money. Thankfully, I had. And you also should have set aside money for emergencies. Otherwise, you will end up taking a loan. Life insurance term plan. Now, I have I have actually published a YouTube video. It's called First Comes Risk Plan, and I've covered all these things in detail. Here, the perspective is to understand how it affects your financial health, right? So I'll stick to that. So term plan. What is the term plan? Term plan is a pure life insurance, not the usual LICs and ULIPs that we all have. This is something that is actually a real insurance, which means if anything were to happen to you, your family gets a big sum. So you pay a small premium, but you get a huge, large sum of money. Your family gets it. So out of your love for your family, my dear friends, especially the husbands, you must have a term plan. Otherwise, what happens? If anything happens to you, right? What happened during COVID? There were many families, women especially, with their small children, not having enough funds because their husband did not plan for a term plan, a term insurance. So, roughly for a 30-year-old, maybe in the 12, 15,000, you'll get 1 crore worth of a life cover. So, go for it because if you do not, after you, your family will be devastated. Emotionally, you cannot do anything, you cannot replace yourself, but at least they will have the money. They don't have to go here and there, they don't have to plead with others, and they are not at the mercy of others because you took care of them. Then the health insurance. Now, most have health insurance these days, sponsored by the company. But what if you lose your job? What if you're switching jobs? What if you get retired? Who will give you insurance? Especially when you retire, by then you would have collected a baggage of illnesses, sicknesses, diseases. It could be anything. It could be diabetes. It could be maybe some mental health, cholesterol, and all kind of things. Fatty liver these days, it's very common. Who will give you, or maybe a heart disease? Who will give you an insurance policy? Yes, you can get, but they'll be very exorbitantly expensive. And when you retire, you want to save money. Or when you are young, when you lose your job, what happens if you are hospitalized? It'll hit your pocket. It'll You have to go deep into your pockets. And more often than not, you will have to withdraw from your long term investments, your financial goals, your plans for your children's education, your own retirement. Or if you don't have, you have to go for a loan. So, friends, this is very important. Have your own health insurance, own self sponsored health insurance. Husband and wife, if you are watching this, please tell your husband, please buy one. These are very important. Life insurance, ask him to buy one. Emergency funds, yes. Please build your emergency fund. Take your time, probably 6 months to a year to have. At least have 50,000 for the time being. 50,000 to a lakh, depending on your expenses. At least 1 month's expenses, immediate expenses, you must have with you. Now, how do I compare emergency funds, insurances with health? So I was just thinking, how it can be compared? Yes, it can be compared to nutritious diet and supplements. Right? During COVID, who suffered with COVID? Yes, most of us got COVID, and a lot of us recovered quickly. But who continued to suffer, or their COVID aggravated and they had to be hospitalized or whatever? Either they had a lot of the virus or their immunity was low. And more often than not, it is the immunity which matters. In fact, any disease, any sickness, viral or bacterial or whatever, dengue or malaria, your body fights first. If your body has enough nutrition, immunity, it'll be able to fight. Same with risk planning. Emergency funds and insurances are like that. They keep your immunity. So anything happens, they fight. Emergency funds, term insurance, or health insurance, they fight it for you. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect your existing funds. It doesn't affect your existing investments. I hope you get it. It's very important. Just like having supplements and good diet. Same way, you must have emergency funds and insurances. Now, let me take you through a little bit of stats on emergency funds and insurances. So here's an article. Here's an article from Business Standard. It says, and this article is dated June 2023, last year. It says 75% Indians don't have funds for emergencies. It says the survey revealed 75% of Indians do not have emergency funds and could default on their EMIs in the event of a sudden layoff. Indians consider their parents, friends as an emergency fund. One out of the three either has health cover nor an emergency fund. Neither has health cover nor an emergency fund, said the survey. At least 25%, at least 29% of Indians said their salary does not last beyond 15 days. How about you? Do you have emergency funds? If you do not have, it can lead to health crisis of your finances. Let's read some stats on insurances. It says here, an article from Forbes.com, approximately 514 million people across India were covered under health insurance schemes in 2021, which is 37% of the people in the country. Nearly 400 million individuals in India have zero access to health insurance. Now, again, a lot of the health insurances for individuals is through their companies. But very important is having your own. In fact, by having your own, you are locking the health insurance for yourself because you are protecting yourself from future illnesses and diseases. Because when you're healthy, you get health insurance at a very low premium. But as you acquire diseases, the premiums go up. So buying at a young age when you're healthy is the best thing. So what happens when you do not have adequate emergency funds and insurances? In other words, if you haven't done your risk planning, what are the long-term consequences on your financial health? Number one, without emergency funds or insurances, you dip into your long-term savings meant for retirement or your children's education. Let me give you an example. For example, you have maybe 2 or 3 lakhs saved, invested, and it is growing. You're investing for your retirement or for your children's education, and you lose your job and you get hospitalized. What do? For your monthly expenses, you will go back to your savings. For hospitalization bills, you go back to your savings and investments. What you're doing is you are withdrawing from your future financial goals. And remember, every time you withdraw, you are cutting the process of compounding, which means withdrawing a few lakhs today is like withdrawing a crore of tomorrow. Would you like to do that? This happens with many families because they do not have enough liquid cash with them, or they do not have health insurance, especially when you are switching jobs and when you do not have a job. What do? And I know many families like this. Their only dependence is God. They pray that they will not fall ill. Do you want to do that? I believe in prayer, but pray for the things that are beyond you. Don't pray for the things that are in your control, where you can buy an insurance at a small fee, small premium. And what if you do not have even those investments? What do? Swipe your card, take a personal loan, because you do not have money. You don't even have your investments. And remember that when you take a loan, You're going back in time and in money. Just imagine you have spent 5 years in saving and investing. 5 years. The moment you take a loan here, you have to pay interest, which eats up on your wealth. So you're going back in time. After you have repaid your loan, you start your journey again. Remember, you're losing your number of years by just not having a simple emergency fund and insurances. Watch my video. First comes risk planning. I have given in fair detail what is it that is required and how you can have these. The purpose of today's video is primarily to tell you that what leads to financial sickness or what determines that you're financially ill. And this, you may be financially fine right now. You may be healthy, thinking you are healthy. But remember, the moment anything strikes, an emergency strikes, health crisis strikes, it can affect your finances and you can become financially poor. So, what is your score, friend? Write in the comment box. Right? Let me know what you think of this. Write in the comment box your score. Do you have enough emergencies and insurances? Please, friend, if you want to remain financially healthy, you must have financial products. So, what does financial products indicate about our financial health? There are various things. Number one that comes to my mind is financial literacy. Many of us buy financial products. We save, we invest in many different types of financial products, ranging from fixed deposit to stock markets, cryptocurrencies, gold, land, estate, real estate, everything. Right? So, and it all depends on your financial literacy. If your financial literacy is good, you will have a reasonably good health, financial health. It's just like food. If you have reasonable understanding about good and bad food, you will be healthy because it depends on what you will eat. Same with financial literacy. So it is a must to have basic financial literacy. It is about inflation, it is about safety, liquidity, returns, governance, or regulation like RBI, SEBI. So these are the basic things that everyone should know. Savings, setting aside money for saving, investing, beating inflation, all the things that everybody should know. Because without this knowledge, you are heading for a disaster. So it's very important for your financial health. Now, there are right and wrong financial products. You've heard enough. Probably you've heard in various YouTube or Instagram reels, or you've heard from me if you have heard my videos. There are a lot of different financial products. Some are right, some are wrong. In fact, I have made a video on the three things that will help you build your wealth. The title of the video is Don't Lose Your Hard Earned Money. And I've covered three things: safety, liquidity, and returns. A lot of families do not understand these three things, and this is a part of your financial literacy. You must invest in products that are safe, that are regulated, okay, and then which liquid, where you can get your money when you need it, and it will give you good returns. And I think there are a lot of folks who invest in unsafe products, unregulated products, and you need to beware. If you buy these products, you will end up with, if you buy these products, if they're not safe, not regulated, you may not even get your money back. You lose your money, and that will affect your financial health. Then there are these investment linked insurance products, also called as ULIPs. Now, ULIPs are not bad per se. They're a combination of insurance and investments. But the problem with that is a lot of them buy them thinking they are investment products, but they are not investment products. because of which you get less returns. And not only I'm not just telling that everybody has done it. Even I have done it. Despite being in the financial services, I also did it. And you can watch my video, which says three things that will slow down your wealth creation. And one of them is this: a lot of them buy ULIPs and they get very low returns. In many times, they are missold products. I'll share with you some statistics later. Then there are these endowment and whole life policies. Once you have your term insurance, you don't need any other insurance policies. And there are these endowment and whole life policies where the premiums are high, insurance is low, the cover, and the returns are also low. So beware of these products. A lot of times, these products are sold by our friends, relatives, all those who we think care for us. Probably they do not even know that they are selling these wrong products as investment products. I've also been a victim of this. In buying property early in life, now there are differing views. You'll find a lot of articles and YouTube videos which say that buying property early is good. But I think, as a financial planner, and many financial planners would tell you this, that it is not a good idea to buy your house very soon. Buy it after 40, 45. Because by then you would have built a big corpus. Then you don't have to take a huge loan. A small loan would do. Or you may even be able to buy property of your own. Simple reason is because properties, real estates in our country have on an average given 7, 8, up to 10% probably. That's it. But equities have given 15 and 20%. On an average 15%, and over a long period, it matters in lakhs and crores. So buying a property early when you're 20s and 30s it's a mistake, and I've made that. You can watch my video, 3 properties, 2 mistakes, 1 lesson learned. I have explained clearly why it was a wrong decision I took. So beware, this may not be the right product for you now. Investing in financial products that can't beat inflation, like FDs, fixed deposits, they are not the right products for long term investing. For your children's education, 15, 18 years later, your retirement, 20, 30 years later, their children's marriage, 20 years later. You can't invest in an FD. FD will give you 5 or 6%. Inflation is around that. Plus the school education inflation and all the lifestyle expenses inflation is much higher, 10 to 12%. And you are investing in an FD or even in products which give 7 to 8% returns. They are bad products for you at this point in time when you are young. They could be good products when you grow older, but not right now. These products will make you financially sick. And finally, less equities and more debt. As a rule of thumb, 100 minus your age. If you are 30, that means 70% at least should be in equities. I would say add a little 5 or 10% more because you have a long runway. You can wait, and markets will give you compounding returns in equities. So all these things, the wrong way of investing, the wrong products will actually slow down, and you will not be financially very fit. You may not be sick because you are investing, but you will not be the fittest. How do I compare financial products, good financial products? It's like the balanced diet. We can eat anything, probably eat a lot of carbohydrates, but that will lead to fat and will lead to high cholesterol, high sugar. Carbohydrates is not bad. So you should have a balanced diet of protein, carbohydrates, and fat. What if you have only fat? That is also not right. What if you have only protein? That also will lead to some diseases. There are some conditions, health conditions, where you need to reduce your protein. So, friends, A balanced diet is important. You may be eating everyday good food, rich food, expensive food, but that may not be the best thing for you. Same way, you may be investing regularly, but into wrong products. And finally, it will make you financially unhealthy, unfit, or even lead to sickness. And I have done enough of mistakes in terms of financial products. When I was young, we did not have this discipline of financial planning. We did not understand a lot of the products. In fact, I did not know that equities will be the best thing for me. And I have missed, I have lost, I have missed the bus. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to make those wrong decisions. I bought ULIPs. I bought a lot of these LIC policies. I bought a house early. I've lost a lot of wealth. At least I believe you should not do that same mistake, friends. Let me read out to you some statistics on wrong financial products, right and wrong financial products. So here is this article on motilaloswal.com. What we understand by mis-selling of ULIPs. So there are a lot of things in these articles. So it says that ULIPs were sold as an alternative to mutual funds. That is the primary method of mis-selling. When you sell ULIPs as mutual funds, then people tend to believe that the returns on a ULIP can happen as fast as in a mutual fund. But here the article says that even if the markets are going up, it'll take you 7 to 8 years. But in a mutual fund, you can get it in 3 to 5 years. And if the market is falling, you will take many more years. I remember my ULIP, when I surrendered, I got 3%. So this is a mis-selling aspect of the liquidity of ULIPs. ULIPs were sold as one-time investment products. Promise of higher returns on ULIPs is another instance of mis-selling. Why is mis-selling so rampant in the case of ULIPs? Mis-selling in ULIPs arises primarily for three reasons. Firstly, most sales personnel are neither trained nor equipped to handle complex financial products. Most of them have been selling plain vanilla products and are unable to understand and advise. See, that means there are those who are selling who don't know. They don't know, you don't know. Ultimately, it lead to bad products. ULIPs are not bad products. They are just good products that have been sold badly, right? Let me show you another article. Is it a genuine investment advice or fraud by mis-selling bad products as good ones? How to know? Right. So there is this article again. Why is this article required? Because there is wrong selling. The first principle that is not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. The mistake made by victims is not realizing when someone tries to hawk bad financial products dressed up as good ones. If you're in the market for financial products, then someone does just that. This is not an exception, but the rule. Sooner or later, everyone is sold undesirable and unsuitable financial products. So it is so it would be far more useful for people to learn what not to do with their money. Financial literacy. Financial literacy. Then one more article which says 76% of Indians not financially literate, says S&P survey. About 76% of Indian adults do not adequately understand key financial concepts, including risk diversification, inflation, and compound interest, a survey showed on Tuesday. So, friends, it is not just you or me. There are many in our country or in this world who are victims of bad financial products. So, saving and investing is not just enough. You need to be financially literate to know where you can go wrong, because this will lead to poor financial health. And it could mean in crores. In the next 20, 30 years, the difference could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 crores even, just because you made the wrong decisions. What are the long term consequences of having bad financial products? Number one, you lose wealth by investing in unsafe, unregulated products. For example, somebody is promising you high returns, and it is not regulated by SEBI, or maybe a land or a property promising you great returns. Now, what if it is not regulated? It's unsafe. In that video on don't lose your hard earned money, I've actually explained a lot of things that have happened in my own life and my parents' life, that how unsafe products have actually eroded your wealth, lost your wealth. There are many instances of fraud that you will read. People are investing their hard earned money and it's all gone. So beware, if you have invested in a wrong financial product because of lack of financial literacy, you will lose your wealth. It will lead to financial sickness. And you are all the while thinking, I'm financially healthy, I'm fine. No, you are not. Slow wealth creation. As I mentioned in my videos, three things that will slow your wealth creation. I've explained how it slows down wealth. Obviously, it's like taking a flight, or it's like taking a train, or a bus, or a car, or a bike, or a bicycle. All of them have different speeds. Now, if you have to reach a place fast, you will naturally take a flight. Would you go by a bicycle or your bike? No, it will slow down. And that is what happens when you do not invest, especially in equity products, which are the engine for your growth of your portfolio. You end up investing in products that cannot beat inflation. What happens? Your wealth grows very slowly. Finally, next is poorly allocated portfolio, which means your portfolio is not properly diversified. Diversification is distribution of your portfolio. I know some of them, they have a huge exposure to real estate. Some of them have a huge exposure to debt. Some of them have a huge exposure to FDs. Some have unnecessary huge exposure to equities. Could be small caps, mid caps. So that is bad. You cannot go extreme on anything. You can't have extreme protein, extreme carbohydrate, or extreme fat. You must have a proper allocation. So when you invest in bad products, wrong products, you get exposed to a very poorly allocated portfolio. So what's your score? Is it 1 or is it 5? 1 is poor, which means you have all wrong financial products or products that appear good, but they will give you very poor returns or they are not safe. Or on the other hand, you have a good allocation. It's like if you're a young person having a lot of equities, some hybrid funds, some uh, debt funds, some FD, some real estate, gold. So a mix, a good allocation. So next on the list to help you understand or determine your financial health. And this is something very important we don't think often, but this has got to do with our psychology. This has got to do with our behavior more than math or products per se. It what drives you. It's greed and fear. Greed and fear. What what do I mean by greed and fear, and how can this lead to poor financial health? Investing for high and quick returns. Now, we saw in the previous section about bad financial products. Then we saw about even financial goals and so many things. Now, all that has got to, a lot of it has got to do with this. Especially, why would you buy a wrong financial product or an unsafe financial product? Because it will give you high and quick returns, fast returns. A lot of them want to invest in crypto. A lot of them want to invest in trade in FNOs, intraday trading. Why? Greed. Nothing else but greed. Quick money. Obviously, do you think it is right in any sense to what you can earn in 1 2 years and you want to earn in few days? Is it right? Is it morally correct? It is not. Some earn, very few. SEBI tells that 9 out of 10 are losing lakhs of rupees in FNOs and trading. Quick returns, high returns. And because of that, they take irrational risk out of greed. Cryptocurrency. So out of greed, you invest your hard-earned savings into cryptocurrency. I'm not saying cryptocurrencies are wrong, are bad. Probably tomorrow, a few years later, many years later, they would be a very good asset class. I don't know today. I don't understand them. Maybe some allocation is still okay. And that is what smart investors do. But people who are sick, who have a lot of greed, who are financially sick, what they do? They put all their hard-earned money, take high risk or high risk products like the small caps and mid caps, put all your money into these funds, or invest in some stocks that you have not researched. Just because it is going up, it is giving huge returns, invest out of greed. And on the other hand, on one hand is greed, on the other end of the spectrum is fear of losing money. So what do people do? Sell or redeem their stocks, their mutual funds out of fear, which is also bad, because it is very clear, and we have seen history of stock markets, that stock markets bounce back. We saw in COVID, it was 30,000, it went down to 30,000 and less, but it bounced back. And today, in 4 years, it is now 80,000. From 30, it is doubled to 60. And from 60, again, it has gone up by 20,000. It bounced back. In fact, it bounced back within a few days and weeks. We saw 2008 credit crisis, same thing, went down to 8,000 and then it bounced back. So when you have fear, what you do is make wrong decisions. You completely come out of mutual funds and stocks, and actually you stand to lose. It is said that a lot of the mutual funds have given 12, 16, 18, 20, 25% returns, even 30% returns. The fund has given, but the same investors who invested probably have got only 8 to 10%. Why? Out of fear and panic, they have redeemed. Fear of taking necessary risks. High risk, high returns. But high risk doesn't mean jumping from the 10th floor. High risk means risk is there initially. There is high volatility in the next couple of years. That is what happens with equities. The people are scared, they're worried, so they don't want to take any risk. I know somebody who has all his money in savings account, giving 2 and 3% returns. Inflation is 4, 5, 6, 7% inflation during that time. He's afraid. There is fear. There is fear of losing. You don't even invest in an FD. But there are some who don't want to invest beyond FD. And everything tells that FDs will give you bad returns. So there is a fear of even taking necessary risks. And that will keep you poor. That will keep you financially unhealthy and sick. So both fear and greed are wrong. You have to invest without greed, without fear. A lot of times, many people want to invest in IPOs because it'll give you quick returns. I've also invested in IPOs. There are times when I've done it because of out of greed. I've not had so much fear in my investing journey, but greed definitely. And I've realized it is wrong. And I've been careful. Since the time I've realized that greed, I'm investing because of greed or because of fear of missing out, because others are doing it, right? A lot of times, many invest in markets because of fear of missing out, FOMO. So, all these feelings will eventually make you financially unhealthy because you will make wrong decisions invariably. You will make wrong decisions because over a long period, you will miss out. You will miss out the best. What about you? Do you invest out of greed, or do you stop invest, or you redeem or come out of fear? You don't need both. So how do we relate with our physical health? I was thinking, wondering what it could be. Both, even in our physical health, when it comes to physical health, there is greed and there is fear. There is greed to eat and eat and eat, enjoy, pleasure, and that leads to obesity. And on the other hand, there is fear, fear of putting on weight, fear this will happen, that will happen, that will happen. So a lot of times, fear keeps people from eating, and greed makes people eat, and that's called the sin of gluttony. Now, same thing happens in your financial life, your financial health. Let me show you some stats on greed and fear of money, and you'll be surprised to hear some things. So, here is an article which says how fear and greed can impact long term investing by Forbes.com. It says that fear and greed are natural and powerful emotions. Many times, those emotions can work in people's favor, but there are instances where these two emotions can wreak havoc. An example of this, an example what they can do to a long-term investment plan. So there are a lot of things about this article. Let me share you another article where it says the fear and greed index, today's sentiments, tomorrow's trends. Did you know there was a greed and fear index which measures the greed and the fear based on how the markets rise and fall? There is this article in Mirai Asset Management Company. It says the investor behavior importance of investor behavior in market correction, greed and fear cycle. It says there is an old saying in Wall Street: financial markets are driven by two powerful emotions, greed and fear. Legendary investor Warren Buffett in 1986 letter to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders wrote that occasional outbreaks of those two super contagious diseases, fear and greed, will forever occur in the investment community. Investor behavior driven primarily by greed and fear is responsible for dizzying heights in bull markets and subsequent crashes in bear market. And how greed affects asset prices and returns, how fear affects asset prices and returns. So, friends, it's very clear. Greed and fear are two emotions that will drive you to either good financial health or poor financial health. Ask yourself which of these two emotions are dominating you. None of these should dominate your emotions. So what are the long-term consequences of greed and fear on your financial health? Number one, you will make wrong financial decisions and you lose wealth. Anybody who invests out of greed, especially, for example, if the markets are going up and up and you're not doing your regular SIPs, regular investing, but you are trying to time the market, what drives you? It's your greed. And if you happen to buy for quick bucks, quick returns, what happens? You invest at the height and market falls. Maybe 5-10%, you have lost your capital. You'll make wrong financial decisions. Same way, when you fear, especially the markets are down, they are crashing, you fear and you take out your money. And then the market goes up and you lose huge returns. And this has happened. So both these can lead to losing of wealth. You miss great opportunities to invest because of your greed, because of your fear, because of these two emotions. You miss out on great opportunities. If you are a regular investor, keep regularly investing, opportunities will find you. Your money will find opportunities because you are a regular investor. Wealth won't grow as much as you want, as much as it can, because of these emotions. Ask yourself, because if you have these two emotions, either greed or either fear, you will lose. Your financial health will not be optimum. So, what's your score? One being poor and five good. One means you have a lot of these both emotions. You go up and down in your emotions. That is one. Five means these emotions do not influence your decision making of investing. One is when fear and greed influence your decision making. Five is they do not. And this will decide your financial health. And now the final one. And this is something which I believe is so, so important, not just for your financial health, but also for your relationship, of your marriage per se. And not many will agree with what I'm going to talk about, or many talk about it. I want to talk about this because I cannot overemphasize this important part of your life: the husband and wife teamwork. Now, you may be wondering, how will this help your financial health? And let me tell you this with my own experience as as a marriage coach and also as a financial coach. I have talked to families very deeply. I've seen their finances very deeply, and I know there's a huge connection between them. And what does husband and wife teamwork mean? It means both have common financial goals, and this can actually lead to financial health when both of you have the common goals. If one of you have this goal and one of you have that goal, and you both don't agree with each other, there is no teamwork. You will not have those goals, you will not work towards them, and both will lose out. And your ultimately your financial health will lose out. It also means budgeting and tracking together. If you do not budget and track together as a partners, as teamwork, then one of you may go overboard, and that can affect your financial health. So you need to be talking to each other, communicating with each other, being transparent with each other, and plan it right in the beginning. Combining finances and keeping each other accountable. This means that you combine your money. Her salary and his salary comes together and becomes our money. There is nothing called his money and her money, my money and your money in marriage. That will make you financially sick to some extent, for sure. And research has proven that. Communicating with each other, a high level of communication between the husband and wife is very important for a healthy financials. And finally, because of discussion and because of teamwork, you have your nominees in place and you have your will, which you have to write, which is in place. So these are very important parts. I cannot talk in detail. You can watch my video on first year of shadi, that is first year of your marriage. These are the things you should do. And I've given 7 things that you must do, and these are all a part of that. Watch that, especially if you're a newly married couple. Now, what are the articles and stats on teamwork in marriage and finances? Yes, there are varying articles, different articles, but there are some things that I liked and believes, and that resonates with my own philosophy. For example, here is an article which says his research, this is from Dave Ramsey, says his research has found that successful couples are more likely to combine finances. It says that the other benefit of combining finances, according to Ramsey, is that it gives couples much higher odds of building wealth. Specifically, he references a study of millionaires that he and his research team conducted. Ramsey says one common characteristics among millionaire couples is that they combined accounts and worked together with their spouses, and their spouses were supportive and cheerleading. It's worth highlighting that these couples weren't successful solely because they pooled their money. As Ramsey mentioned, they also worked together and supported each other, which is even more important. Combining accounts doesn't work if one partner doesn't want to learn how to budget or work towards financial goals. So, friends, it is so important a teamwork in your marriage when it comes to finances to stay financially healthy. So, look, what are the long term consequences of lack of teamwork in building wealth? Conflicts in financial plans leads to some unfulfilled goals. I've seen up to number of families where they do not agree They do not have the finances together. They do not communicate. There's always that communication: my money, your money, you spend this, you spend here, I will spend on this. They do not have common goals. They have individual goals. And you can never have this synergy and you can never achieve. So you are at a loss. Your marriage is at a loss and your financials are at a loss. Wrong decisions hidden for each from each other for years. So when you manage separately, you make your own decisions, which ultimately affect the family. Maybe a wrong investment decision or taking debt which you never disclose to your spouse. And that affects the family. And very close to that is you miss good advice or caution. In our own marriage, although I am from the financial world, my wife is in the paramedical. Many times, I have mentioned this even in my earlier videos, many times she has stopped me from making wrong decisions. And that has saved our family from, from, you know, from losing wealth. And I often ask her, talk to her, hey, this is what I plan to do. And she asks me questions. She cautions me if whenever it is. In fact, she's also helped me make the right decisions. So, friends, you can lose wealth. And I have talked to many families, and right now they are in huge debt. And I asked the wife, were you ever engaged in the financials or financial planning or anything with your husband? And she says, no, I know. I don't know. He is the one who handles it. And that is precisely the reason why your home finances are in this state. Why are you financially sick? Because you, as a spouse, as a wife, or as a husband, never took interest, telling that he is taking care. Why should I bother? Remember that God has given you both this charge, not one person. In your marriage, you both are in charge of the finances. So, what's your score? Do you do your finances together? One is poor, which means you do everything separately. Five is when you both do it together. So, what's your score? Let me know in the comments. So, let's do a quick summary of assessing your financial health. Number one, spending habits. If you have poor spending habits, it will lead to poor financial health. But if you are controlled, self controlled, disciplined financial habits, spending habits, you will be financially healthy. If you already have a lot of loans, you're already sick. If you do not have loans, you are financially healthy. Congratulations. Savings habit. If you have very good savings habit, you are financially healthy. If you are on a path to financial health, but if you have very poor saving habits, no saving habits, you will become financially sick, unfit. Financial goals. If you have enough financial goals and if you're working towards them, you will be financially healthy. But if you do not have financial goals, if you're not working towards your financial goals like retirements, children education, and other things, you will be financially unhealthy, unfit. Emergency funds and insurances. If you have enough emergency funds and enough insurances, the term insurance and health insurance, you will be financially healthy. You will stay financially healthy because any sudden emergencies or hospitalization will not put a dent on your savings or you don't have to take loans. But if you do not have, you will become financially sick someday. Financial products. If you have bad financial products, you may not become financially sick, but you will not be as fit as you can. But good financial products like equities and good asset allocation, safe products will take you to good financial health. Greed and fear. If greed and fear, these two emotions, are controlling your investment decisions or influencing where you invest, why you invest, or why you don't invest, then you are headed towards financial sickness. But if these two emotions are not controlling, they are not influencing your financial decisions, you will remain healthy. And finally, if you as a husband and wife are a team, and if you're doing everything as a team, you will be guaranteed have financial health. Of course, there are all these other things also matter, but if you are not as a team, you may not have good financial health and also not have a good relationship. Of course, we are talking about uh, financial health. So, this is the summary. Where do you stand? What is your financial health? In the next section, we will do the scoring. Are you ready? So, let's take a look at your family's financial health score. You can take a pen or you can take a pen and a notebook and write down all these 8 points: spending habits, loans, saving habits, financial goals, insurance, emergency financial products, greed and fear, and teamwork. So let me think about a family, one of the families or an imaginary family, and one where they have a good financial health, one where they do not have a good financial health. A spending habit. Many families struggle with spending. So, on a score of 1 to 5, 1 being poor, 5 being okay, let me put the score as 2. They have a lot of loans. Let me put 1 because they have huge loans. Savings habit, they have started saving now gradually. Let's put 2. Financial goals, they do not have any financial goals. Insurance, emergency funds, they have insurance, but they don't have emergency fund. Let's put 2. Financial products, they haven't saved enough. They're struggling with the financial products. They do not have enough good financial products. So let's put 1. Greed and fear, they're really not operating on greed and fear. They have not really invested. So let me put a 5 here. Teamwork, yes, they're both doing it together. Let's put 4 here. Let's do a scoring. 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 14, 18. 18 out of 8. So average score is 18 out of 8. That is equal to 2.25 out of 5. Now, anything less than 3 is bad financial health. So 3 and above is good. Now, here, if you see, the good thing is that they are not driven by greed and fear and they are teamwork. So that has actually bumped up their score. Otherwise, it could have been much lower. So they have a good possibility of increasing their score, right? So, and now let me take a look at a family who is doing well, who is financially healthy. Spending habits, they are good, they are frugal, they are very careful with their spending. Uh, Let me put a 5. Loans, they do not have any loans. Savings habit, yes, they're doing a good job. They have started SIPs. And let me see that they did not have great savings habit earlier. Now they have. So let me put as a 4. They have financial goals, yes. Insurance emergency, yes, they have. Financial products, they have good financial products. They also have a few bad financial products, few. So let me put as a 4. Greed and fear, no, they are not operating out of greed and fear. Teamwork, yes, they are doing it as a team. Let's total it up: 5, 10, 14, 19, 24, 28, and 5, 33, and 5, 38. So 38. The score is 38, and now 38 divided by 8 is equal to 4.75. Their financial health is very good. If you look at all the parameters, they are all good. Now, this seems like a very ideal, right? But there are many families. I have seen such families. I have also seen families which are bad. So you have to determine where you are. Please score as honestly as you can. And I did this score while we were having our walk with my wife, and I had definitely a high score, obviously, because uh, my financial I'm teaching. I have rectified a lot of my poor financial habits, right? My spending habits were bad before marriage. After marriage, with my wife's support and guidance, I improved. We never had loans. That's one good thing. A home loan, except for a home loan, we never had loans. No savings habit. So once upon a time, my savings was zero. Habit. I didn't have savings habit. Financial goals is zero. I had never had a financial goals. One, I would say. Insurance emergencies, no emergencies. Insurances, we had some. Financial products, poor financial products. Greed and fear, not so much. Teamwork, okay. So my score could have been very less. It could have been two or max three. Thank God that in the right time, I found a good financial planner and advisor who helped me. So, friend, this is a very important exercise you will do. This is like your health checkup, financial health checkup. This is like your financial health checkup. Find out what is your health, what is your financial health, because this will help you get on track, build wealth, and be of use to this society. How to get back to financial fitness? Do exactly those things that you haven't done. Number one, change your spending habits. If your score is low, then you should change your spending habits. Try to make it three or four. If you are at one or two, go up slight, change, budget, track. Don't do impulsive spending. Don't swipe your card for everything. Be very careful, very careful about spending. You will become financially healthy if you take care of this thing. Again, let me repeat to you, as someone has said, that it is not your spending habit, it is not your salary that makes you rich, it is your spending habits. Number two, repay your loan aggressively. With huge loans, you are already sick, financially sick. You are in the hospital bed or you are in the ICU. You have to come back to the hospital bed and come back home, right? So you have to repay your loan aggressively. You can watch my video, Get Rid of Your Loans. I've shared a little things about repaying your loans there. Redeem and surrender poor investment products. All your ULIPs, insurance policies, please talk to your financial advisor, take proper advice, and get rid of these products. Start budgeting. Yes, I already mentioned in spending habits, start budgeting and tracking. Write down your financial goals today. Take insurance policies and emergency funds. Please start building your emergency funds and take those insurance policies which you haven't. You only need two insurances. One is the term insurance, one is the health insurance. Have good asset allocation, right financial products, high in equity when you are young, then slowly taper down your equity and increase more of hybrid and debt funds. But when you're young, have a lot of equities. Work as a team, husband and wife. You will build your wealth and your marriage together. You have learned a lot in this. Personally, I have learned a lot going through this, and I wish I had this video when I was young. I would have known my financial health and I would have been very careful about the things, the mistakes I made, especially poor spending habits, no savings, bad financial products.
These are no financial goals. So these are the things that really affected my financial health, which really took a toll on my financials. What about you? Did this add value to you? Please let me know in the comment box. Just write down 1 or 2 words, whether you liked it, not, whether this will help you. And if you think this is useful, please forward it to your friends, your relatives. Please give me a thumbs up, a like. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I would like to bring more and more videos. You can also give me comments, share your comments on what is your need? What do you want me to create videos on? I would love to do it. And thank you once again for watching the video till the end. Happy financial health. Wish you a great financial health. And I'll see you in my next video.